everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and thank you again for watching the content. Today we've got an amazing guest, a really amazing guest, Shani Taylor. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You certainly did. Well done.
Excellent. I always like to try to get that right. But like when I say amazing guest, like you really have quite a story. You've got quite a number of feathers in the bow, we could say, like quite a lot of achievements, and you've just been traveling. Because was it yeah, the LA Weekly is Australia's most exciting speaker. So LA Weekly just announced you as Australia's most exciting speaker. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's crazy actually. Yes, LA Weekly just named me Australia's most exciting speaker. 2 weeks ago, Business Insider and CEO Weekly sat me alongside Zoom's founder as one of 12 people in 2024, 12 thought leaders, pardon me, in 2024 making positive global impact. And I was just like, how is this even I'm literally part of 12 people. One of them is the Zoom founder. Zoom's founder, right?
Zoom's founder.
Zoom's founder, and I'm next to him, one of 12. So yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff.
And I've seen like behind you where it says you can do it all.
Have it all, yeah.
If I can just do a screen share just for a second, because I just brought up some things of yours. So I'll just do. Can you see that?
Yes, you've got my speakers page open.
Yeah. So just to do the formal introduction of winner of Global Coach of the Year and the Women's Changing the World Awards, which is very cool. And having shared the stage with 8 list celebrities, if we scroll down, rather than just reading the names, we can just see. It's like, you can't make this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Vince Vaughn, Mark Boris, Elizabeth Hurley. I think a couple of people have heard of her.
I think a couple of people have very much heard of Elizabeth Hurley. I think she's, a world sweetheart, isn't she? She was like actress turned supermodel. Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I think she was quite big in Australia for another reason too. Like she was married, married to Shane Warne?
She was married to Shane Warne, yeah. I mean, I think everybody's heard of Tommy Hilfiger. Jeremy Piven was one of the leads in Entourage, the TV show. And I mean, if you're into sport, you will definitely know the GOAT of Canadian ice hockey, Wayne Gretzky. So, yeah.
Oh, yes. I had to look that acronym up because I just thought GOAT sounded like a weird insult.
It's the greatest of all time, Scott.
Greatest of all time. It's like one of those things that you may
not know the face, but you will definitely know the brand Reebok, and over there on the left, obviously, with Mr. Joe Foster. And also on the right-hand side there next to Joe was Jim Keys, who was the founder of Blockbuster and then CEO of Blockbuster and then 7-Eleven. So some of the world's amazing business minds.
Yeah, you're getting to rub shoulders with the best table in the house, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen just for a second.
Sure.
Because I thought that, that does like the introduction better than what I could do.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having a chat. So I was thinking like as a bit of a structure, like if we could sort of talk a little bit of origin story, and then kind of maybe some steps, and then talk about a giveaway that you've got. Oh, actually, just one more thing. I just want to share the screen one more time.
Yeah.
Because the day I talked to you, I got your book.
You got my book? Let me.
Yeah.
Very cool. Have you read it? It's a really easy read. Have you read it?
Absolutely. I wouldn't.
I think
I just need to.
I think you're trying to click on the Kindle thing on the top there.
Yeah, I mean the Zoom bar was stopping me, so
okay.
I'll do it this way. Here we go.
Okay, cool.
You can see that?
Yeah.
From ignored to adored. I read it on the first day that I got it, which was the day that we chatted.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it. This week, I've had a number of people try to contact me, dry message me through Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like it's like their friend requested me, and then they've gone, I've got a business opportunity for you. Is that worth a chat?
Yeah, it's so assumptive. It's like, hang on a minute, you don't even know, the state of my business. You don't even know me. It's literally like trying to get somebody into bed on the first date, or not even the first date. It's like at the bar, it's just, it feels so gross on the nervous system. But I also have a lot of respect for those people because they are at least taking action. Now, we might not agree with the action, but
Yes,
they're doing the best that they know how. Because if they knew better, they wouldn't do that, right? But at least they have enough get up and go to try, right? As opposed to just sitting there frozen and not doing anything. So I actually have a lot of respect for them because they're taking
100%.
action, but they need to know that there's a better way to act.
Absolutely. Because there is let's say there's a reputation on some salespeople, kind of what they call the ick, which
Yeah.
might be that they're contacting people the wrong way. But there's a false reputation with coaches, which is like, oh, it didn't work. And you kind of go, well, show us where it didn't work. Like, show us where what didn't work. It's like, well, show us where you did the steps and we'll show you where it broke.
Mm.
I think somebody was calling it the dog that didn't bark approach.
Right.
Because if you remember, who was the detective? Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that the fact that, people have said the dog didn't bark, that's not evidence. And he said, well, the fact that the dog didn't bark is evidence. Who do dogs not bark for? It's like they don't bark for their masters. And so then we could basically assume something on that the dog knew the person who broke in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you can look at the funnel, or you can look at the business and you could see kind of, well, which stage is broken. But I think that what you can't fix in a business for someone is they've got a blank piece of paper and they've said, "Can you fix this for me?"
Mm.
And you're like, "No, because it's blank. You've got to take some action." So, like, I suppose it's saying respect for the people that are taking the wrong approach. At least they're taking an approach.
Exactly. And I think I just think as human beings, we need to, I think we have a social responsibility to be a lot nicer to these people. Because I think the thing that really disappoints me, and by the way, full disclosure, 3-4 years ago, I was one of these people that used to get on social media and whinge about the cold DMers.
Yep.
And, just as I've matured as a person and also as a business owner, I do believe that we need to stop. There's so much whinging on social media about, oh, I just got spammed and I just got cold DM'd and don't add me and then do this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I think we need to just be nicer to human beings in general.
Yeah.
But also, I think we do need to show that respect. Because by the way, this year we're complaining about people coming into our DMs, but sales are sales. And my first real job, and when I say real job, I just mean that wasn't in retail as a teenager. My first
Yep.
professional type job was commission only insurance sales door to door, which is the equivalent of a DMer today, right? And
Yeah.
so, and so I just think, like, we've got to show the respect to these people that they're giving it a go. And instead of whinging, as the receiver, if you knew how to build a relationship and if you mastered the art of communication, you would actually be able to turn that conversation to your favor. But instead, most people remove, delete, ghost, or are rude, and then go and whinge about it to anybody who'll listen. And you've missed out on an amazing opportunity if you were the leader and you knew how to lead.
Right. So instead of helping them out, they post a victimology report on Facebook.
That's right. And by the way, you can a lot of the time you can turn, if you are a service provider and you have something to sell, these people coming into your DM have just done you a favor because they are lead genning for you, because they're coming to you. If you know how to communicate and lead a conversation, you could actually turn these people into your own client. So instead of going out there writing a victimology report, read my book, learn how to be a leader, learn how to communicate better, and then you can actually turn those people into your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from following you online, like there's a lot of, like what I would say that I find interesting, not just that like you have plenty of people that follow, but you talk about there's like, the 7-figure business not having to have spent money on ads.
Yeah.
So that has to in some way come down to communication because you're connecting with people, and I think that's something that I think people will find most interesting. How do you communicate with people?
How do you, yeah, okay, great. So yeah, just to kind of drill in on that. So I did create a 7-figure business within 2 years of opening my business, and I did it all without paid ads. And I mean, we have just now started running ads just in the testing phase, but like, so 4.5 years later. So I did build 7 figures without ads, and it is all about people and it is all about relationships. But the problem is, we've got many people that are going into a business, and actually what they're doing is they're going into business because they love what they do. So whether it's hypnosis, it's a coach, it's a health professional, it's selling products, right? Whatever it is, they go into business to do the thing that they love. But the problem is you're now a service, or you're a service provider trying to be a business person, when actually you need to be a business person who is also great at what they do. And so what happens is people go into business, they get themselves a business number and a bank account, and they open up a social media profile, and then they tell everybody that they're in business, but actually what you've got is a self-made job. Because right. And you know, and the challenge here is that people go into business and they bring their 9-to-5 consumer mentality. So what I mean by that is consumer mentality is I do something and I want to see the rewards straight away in my tangible reality. Or I buy the book and I spend the $30 and I want to be able to touch, feel, smell the book in my hands immediately. And this is consumer mindset. And we get this consumer mindset from being a 9-to-5 employee, where we do A to get B. Now, when you're in business, you have to play the long game. And you have to be prepared to be a person of value, to build relationship. And then eventually it starts to compound, and you get known as the go-to person, the expert, the person of trust. And now all of a sudden people are signing up to work with you. They're sending you referrals. They're singing your praises. You're getting engagement on the things that you're putting out. But the problem is most people don't get to that point because they're only going to go and communicate with somebody to try and get the sale. And then if they don't get the sale, they go, it's not working. And then they stop and they become passive, and then they sit there and they wait for people to come and buy from them, and then shit goes slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said a lot there.
Absolutely. I love that. Like that explanation. Like I remember reading about if I can try to remember how to pronounce the name, but Sisyphus, I think it was, that he was punished for being what they were called too greedy, and his punishment was to roll a rock up a hill and then have it come back down again.
Right.
And in thinking about, James Clear, that has Atomic Habits, that book, which is I think now like the Bible of business for a lot of people these days.
Yeah.
And he's talking about dopamine and rats, and how it's really strange, but it's basically that you get dopamine twice. So you get it from like thinking about the cheese, and you get it from eating the cheese.
Yeah.
And he kind of compared that like some of the best results you can get with your habits is where sometimes there's like no dopamine at all. Like where what you do is like you do the action for the love of the action.
That's right.
And on the other side, then you might get a reward, but it's almost like it's not forget the reward, aim high, but don't try to get your dopamine hit from the reward. So like with that guy, were you looking him up or?
No, I was just checking something which is about Atomic Habits, but totally not relevant. I don't want to interrupt you, so keep going.
That's okay. But yeah, like if you can fall in love with rolling the rock up the hill, it's like the saying that he had, that people don't seem to rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their habits or systems.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a system, you do this just every day. If you fall in love with doing it every day, then you don't have to stop, because then you're not getting like the punishment from the brain, because literally just the circuitry of the brain and then the endocrine system sort of punishes and rewards.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that we've got to be passionate about it, but at the same time make it no big deal.
Yeah, it's the duality.
Yeah. I think that like people that do what you do have almost like different eyes or different ears in a way, because like in a classroom, let's say like if you're teaching 30 people, one person just can't figure out what you've explained to them. And so instead of like asking, can you help me? They say, I hope I'm not the only one struggling.
Mm.
And I go, well, that's not nice. Don't say that to us. Like, isn't that sort of like a curse? Like saying you want everyone to not figure this out? Or do you just for you, do you just want some help?
Yeah.
But it sounds though kind of like a kindness when they say it, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think that that's more like human beings. There's safety in numbers, and they want to be safe in the pack, and they want to make sure that they're not the only one failing because they don't want to get chucked out of the pack if they don't understand something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than, can I join the winning pack? Can you help me figure out the missing puzzle, the
Yes,
missing
but
piece?
human behavior and why people do things is truly fascinating, Scott. We'll never fully work it out.
Absolutely. It's fun to explore. So with your, because I in reading your book, there was a lot of history in that one. What's maybe just like a short version that you'd just be happy to share as to why do you do what you do today?
It's really interesting because when I got started, the vision was not this.
Yeah,
I didn't, when I started my business, I had just like kind of been in this process of healing significant PTSD where at one point I wouldn't even leave the house.
yeah,
And, you know, completely removed myself from society. And then I got to this point where I was like, all right, it's time to go back to work. And I was a changed person on so many levels. And I knew that I could not go back to a 9 to 5 and be answerable, you know, for every minute of the day, including when am I going to go to the bathroom? And I've got to be here by a certain time. Like it was just, I couldn't deal with that. You know, I couldn't do it.
yeah,
So I knew that I wanted freedom and flexibility. I'm also a mother, a single mother. My son was, you know, like 11 at the time. And I was like, you know, I want this online business thing because, I mean, the dream gets sold to us everywhere about live the laptop lifestyle and work from anywhere in the world, right? So I
yeah,
kept asking around for people to help me find where is a course or a program or a coach that can teach me how to start an online business, because I also didn't even know what my offer would be, right? I just knew that I couldn't go back. I needed to go forwards. And the dream at the time was just to make enough money to not have to go back to a 9 to 5.
yeah,
So I finally found a program, did the program, got to the end of the program about how to start an online business, still had no idea what my offer was going to be, but I opened up a social media profile, thought I'd give it a go. So I had no offer, no audience, no idea what I was going to do. But what I did do was I went all in and I worked 18 hours a day. I spoke to people all day long because I knew that if I spoke to enough people, clarity would come around what do people need matched with what can I actually do and provide. And
yeah,
so in speaking to as many people as possible to just have conversations, not to sell anything, I
yeah,
got clarity. I created an offer, remembering no audience. And in my first 30 days in business, I did over $10,000. And all of a sudden I went, okay, you know, can I do this again the second month? And it built and it built. And within my first year, I'd done 350K. My offers started to evolve. I started to evolve. And it's really been, like, I just even feel emotional just thinking about this. Being in business has been such a journey of just the self and
yeah,
really coming into leadership, into possibility, into authenticity, and along the way, just seeing the impact that we are able to have. It's really mind-blowing, actually. So I've grown with it rather than thinking that I had some end goal, and I'm just letting it go where it goes.
yeah. So to some degree, it started with like burning the ships.
Yeah, definitely burnt the boats, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it sounds because the things I'm picking up, it's like your identity came into like actualization through this in a way.
Yeah, I would agree with, well, this, yeah, the iteration of who I am, the maturity, you know, I think obviously identity is ever evolving, and that's
Yeah,
the sociologist coming out in me now, right? But, you know, the identity is always evolving, but yes, absolutely. It's like, this is me in relationship with me through business.
yeah. And so there was something so like under this video, if people want to grab a really cool treat. Um, if I can just share the screen, again.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, so this is called the free 3K course waitlist to clients.
Yeah.
Another thing I did on the first day, besides reading the book, is I went through all of the videos,
Yeah.
and your energy was amazing.
My what, sorry?
Your energy was amazing.
Okay, thank you.
Because it was something like it was like a live. I could hear like you knew the people that were new, the people that already knew you, and then you had a really great framework and story to take people through, um, including the muse. Because like we're talking about how do you communicate, and there's a real method, there's a real kind of system you've got. It's like, well, it's not just like just say to people, communicate, just communicate better. You've got a real process as to how do you communicate better? How do you not just kind of like fill in the blanks on a piece of paper, but connect with people in a way that's like charismatic. It's like they're following you and re-signing. They must like you, or they must get value out of what you're doing. So
Mm.
what's this one? Like, how would you explain the free 3K course waitlist of clients?
Yeah, so the value of this program is that it is 3K US, but you know, obviously we're giving it here for free, and I would encourage anyone who's watching to download this. It's two trainings. They're about an hour and a half each. So it feels like a lot, but it's really a blend of what I call spirit and matter, or in other words, tactical, you know, process and strategy matched with energetics and mindset. And obviously, you know, Scott, because you've obviously watched it. But you know,
Yep.
what is it? It's a very clear pathway for how to show up, to find the people that are going to buy from you, and
Yep.
not your avatar, because your avatar is half the equation. That's the demographics, right? But there's
Mm.
a difference between finding somebody who fits your avatar versus somebody who is your avatar who's going to buy from you, because a buyer needs to fit the demographics. Like, you know, are they a business owner? Are they this age? Are they single? Whatever your thing is. But they also need to be problem aware, solution seeking. Otherwise, they're never going to buy from you.
I
And
loved that phrase when I watched that.
which one?
The problem aware, solution focused, because it
Yeah.
also points out the fact there are people who are not.
Correct. Just because they're in your avatar, they're also not necessarily thinking that they have a problem, or that they think they have a problem, but they don't want a solution. So I teach that process for how to identify the difference.
Yep.
And then, as you said, I talk about it in the book, but obviously there's only so much in there about the muse. And I uncover from a quantum physics perspective how to find your message, find your buyer, and then bring that forward in content so that it actually draws in people that want to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually funny with the book because I looked at the reviews, and all except for one,
Yeah.
like they're all 5 star.
Yeah. Then there's this
And
one
then
guy. There's this one guy who's whinging.
he's written you a thesis. And at the bottom, then he kind of changes his tone. He said, "Oh, but I learned a fair bit from it though." Like, then why are you giving 1 star? And it kind of sounds like he was like thinking through it as he's typing.
Probably. And then he got to the end and he went, "Oh, hang on a minute. This is actually really good."
Yeah, maybe, and he's like, "I'm too far in now. I may as well hit send."
Yeah, I thought that was funny as well. But listen, you're always going to have haters. By the way, that's part of business. So when we talk about this self-actualization journey, you know, part of it is, if you're going to be in business, you've got to be able to take the criticism. Otherwise, you're never going to get bigger, because the bigger you become, the more criticizers you have, because you've got more people that are seeing you. And so it's just law of averages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny, something I did that like I didn't know that like to begin with it would affect me so much, and then it would give me an immunity. But you know, like during the lockdown, sorry, we're talking about you, but I'm doing a
No, go for it.
side story. But do you know how like all the conventions in America, like where there's like the sci-fis and the TV shows, and they get a lot of money from like the meet and greet where you come and go to the convention.
Yeah.
And so everything was shut down, so they couldn't earn any money, so they put it all online. And so I signed up to do like all of them. So I these 2 minute little calls, and half of them like would get no views. I put them on YouTube and like oh, that's someone who was famous 20 years ago that only you remember, so maybe 10 views. One of them got like 200,000 views. Another one got, oh, then somebody took a clip out of that and that got nearly 1 million.
Wow.
And then there was there was others that did like 100,000 or something. But shows that are on now, because I was like tired. It was like 3 in the morning because it was US time and Australian time, and bags under my eyes were huge, and I had to be quiet. There were like people in the house, and
Yeah.
so then I only got 2 minutes, and so then like I did this interview where the lady I was interviewing was like very peppy, very kind of awake, and I was not, and I was like pretty much in a dressing gown, like almost coughing like sick, and then the comments section has like thousands of comments going, "Who's this like brain dead idiot?"
Listen, never read the comments. Never read the comments. Yeah.
Like I was going to shake every time one came through. I'm like, ugh. But then after a while, I just sort of went like, "That's another one," because you can only get so upset to the point where you go like, "That's another one."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it was a terrible video that I made. And they're going like, why did you waste her time? No wonder she only gave you 2 minutes. I'm
Right.
like, well, I bought 2 minutes from her, but they don't know the context. So
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, they think I'm a professional interviewer who's unprofessional
Right. Yeah. But you
versus,
make a great point there, which is basically that the more that it happened, the more immunity you built. But this is like from a nervous system perspective, the only way to expand our capacity for anything is to actually be in the thing. And you then you train your nervous system with repeated touch points. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. Like, so that's the thing. It's like some people might be watching and they might know that they have this challenge with showing up
yeah,
and they've got fears around that. The only way that you're going to remove the fear so that it doesn't chain you and freeze you is by doing the thing. And because then you teach yourself, oh, it's safe. Oh, it's safe. Oh, it's safe.
yeah, bit of immersion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is so funny that like without hormones, our brain doesn't even want food, so it can't be embarrassed without hormones, and it can't be excited without hormones because we're kind of like ChatGPT that just thinks, plus all these feelings and these survival needs that are kind of from like a long time ago, like where you know, like when dogs still think that the postman is going to kill us all,
Mm.
and we can't update their software, but like at the same time we're trying to update our software by saying that like like some of the buying drivers that people have, like that people want money, and you could say, well, if you want money and you want nothing more than money, here's the phone book and here's a phone, ring every single number in there, you ring one, they're like, go away, you ring another, go away, and you just do it. People won't do that because more than money they want something else.
All right.
And
We
it's not.
know that most people are actually not driven by money because most of the world's population are not financially secure. They're not even close to being financially well off. So if you're in a room full of people and you say, put your hand up if you would love to be financially free, almost everybody in that room will put their hand up. But if you say, now leave your hand up if you actually are, majority of hands are going to go down. And so what people say versus what they do tells us everything. And again, so this is why I'm not opposed to the spammy DMs, because those people have a higher probability of success over the next 10 years than what the person who's sitting there judging them about it actually has.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I think it was the Theodore Roosevelt, like there's they don't make statues for the audience, or they
That's right. Yeah, you're either going to be in the grandstand watching the game or you're going to be on the court, and I'd rather be on the court.
absolutely. I can't
Yeah.
remember the whole saying, but it was amazing. This whole like the glory goes to the person who's like, tarred and muddy or something, and not the critic who sits and throws insults.
Yeah,
It's like, well, show us yours. What have you done?
that's right.
And I guess like most people haven't failed, they just haven't started.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually the success comes with the success comes in the failures.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like there was this one time because I was teaching at the Academy of Phonetic Science, like where I'd studied, because I basically it was a burn the boats kind of a situation. I just went, I can't work for someone else. I'm just kind of not very good with getting told what to do by someone who yells it at me.
Yeah.
I don't mind a PT, but like a boss,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And then like I went to Centrelink and it's like they do this resume writing course that you have to turn up to for the money. And I walked out and they're like, well, we'll cut your payments if you walk out. I'm like, I can't stay here.
Yeah.
And so then I went and got a job. And then after that, I went, I can't stay here. And then went and started a business. But it's kind of it's interesting that like you'll do what you have to do if you have to do it.
if there's enough pain, and I think this is another problem, just like an illness of the human condition, that unfortunately most people are driven by, is that most people are driven by running away from pain rather than towards the desire. And true mastery and success will come when you're able to train yourself to stop taking action because you're trying to avoid something, and instead start to take action because it aligns with a desire that you say that you want. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know, let's use food as an example, or working out, because everybody's can kind of relate to this, right? It's like, people will say that they want to exercise and that they want to work out, but most of the time they're not doing it because they're actually not interested. It's like the thought of being unhealthy or, you know, having health issues isn't a problem at that time. But the only thing that will push them to then go and exercise is if they then get a diagnosis all of the sudden and their life is at risk, then they'll go and do it. But true mastery is like, can I do the thing that I know is good for me, that aligns with what I want, whether it's longevity of life, better quality and better good looking partner, because now you're more, you know, appealing, whatever it is. Most of the time people won't do that thing unless there's a problem.
Absolutely. Like wanting love, but wanting free time more.
Exactly. So, yeah, we've, as a human race, you know, when we're moving because we're trying to avoid something rather than moving because we're co-creating a desire, this is why people are unhappy with their lives and their business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a story of someone, he dropped a $5 note in the toilet, and he looked at it, and then he's gone into his wallet and he pulls out 100. And the $5 was an accident, but now he deliberately puts the 100 in there. Have you heard this? And so somebody saw him do it, and they've gone, "What are you doing?" He's gone, "I'm not putting my hand in the toilet for $5."
Mm-hmm.
But for $105, he grabbed it.
That's madness. It's just so, and that's why humans are so interesting, because we can observe ourselves. Like, so we can know that we're not going to put our hand in the toilet water for $5, which, by the way, if the toilet was flushed, the water's fine anyway. Right. But so we'll know that we won't do that. So we will create a scenario where there's more pain to push us to move. So in this instance, losing the $100 is more appealing than just the 5. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you're, you know, your audience here in your Facebook group, you know, wants to build a business, wants to be in demand, wants a dream of clients coming to them, then the 3K course is absolutely for them.
100%. So guys, click the button. And do you have any final comments, perhaps, or final words?
I mean, go and buy my book. That's what I would say.
100%. I read it. It's a good book.
It's super easy to read. It's a super easy read, but very, very impactful. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. I'm just going to stop the recording now.
See you guys.
See you guys.